Good evening. Thank you for being here. I would like to call the regular meetings of the Public Finance Authority, Water Utility Authority, Housing Successor Agency, and City Council to order. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Moran. Here. Councilmember Mora.
Here.
Councilmember Sarno.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
Here.
Mayor Rodriguez.
Here.
And I would like to announce that members of the Public Financing Authority and Water Utility Authority receive $150 for their attendance at these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to call upon Councilmember Mora to give the invocation.
Please stand. And please bow your heads. We direct our thoughts to you, Almighty God, and ask your blessings on everyone present. Please accept our gratitude for your goodness and generosity. Give us wisdom, courage, and foresight to accomplish the work before us. Amen.
Thank you. I would like to call upon Boy Scout Troop 5530 and Cub Scout Pack 553 and Juliana Casillas of the Youth Leadership Committee to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Well, before they leave, come back. You might want to introduce each member, so we could start from the far right.
Noah Concha, Mia Concha, Andrew Concha, Kellyanne Lane, Joe Moreno, Landon Brosson,
I'm Juliana Casillas.
Anthony Zelaya, Jacob Gutierrez, Randall Gaddis, Benjamin Fernandez, Arturo Silva, George Fernandez, Captain Silva,
Yes. Thank you to all of you. We're so proud of you. Thank you. Item number 5, public comments. Public comments are now open. Anyone joining us through Zoom can use the raise hand function if you wish to make a public comment on any item on the agenda or not on the agenda. The city clerk will see if you have raised your hand through the Zoom application. For those that are here to make a public comment in person, you will have an opportunity once the city clerk announces your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. City clerk, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today?
Madam Mayor, so far we had one speaker, Jeff Gutierrez.
Thank you. At the podium. Thank you, Jeff.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm here because I have concerns of our beautiful mature trees on Maidstone and Canary Island Pines. I know they're proposed for removals. Why? I don't understand. We should be building our tree canopy to help combat heat-related island effect, not removing our trees. So I contest the removals, and I rest assured that I will call the newscast if they start removing those trees, because there's no given reason. What we need to do is to educate our constituents. This thing, our constituents, and let them know what's the benefits instead of us removing them because of pine needles or sap droppings. There's a lot more to explain to them and educate them. And I'm 25 years of experience with Streets LA, City of Los Angeles as an arborist. And I'm a longtime resident of Santa Fe Springs. And I would like to see our city have more trees. But by removing them, I don't understand why. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we don't have any more speakers.
Thank you. All right, I will now close public comments and move on to the next item. Item number 6, Public Financing Authority Agenda. We have 2 consent items. Is there a motion for the approval of items 6A and 6B?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
I'm sorry,
Aye.
Madam Mayor, if I may, who made the motion?
Joinjo.
Joinjo.
And
Thank you.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 7, Water Utility Authority Agenda. We have 3 consent items. Is there a motion for the approval of items number 7A through 7C?
I'll move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 8, Housing Successor Agenda. We have 1 consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 8?
I'll move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 9, Successor Agency Agenda. We have 1 consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 9?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 10, City Council Agenda. We have 4 consent items, A through D. Is there a motion for the approval of the City Council Consent Agenda?
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. New business, item number 11, authorize the implementation of the home security camera rebate. I would like to call upon Director of Police Services, Dino Torres.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Department of Police Services is always looking to improve the quality of life of our residents in different means. It could be through programs, it could be through an ordinance, it could be through equipment that we buy. Some of those examples are crime mapping software that we have for the residents so they could see the crime rates and where crimes are happening. We have informational flyers that speak to home protection, personal safety, identity theft, vehicle protection, senior scams, other things. We have vacation security checks that are done by our PSOs. So when someone goes out of town, they can come in and fill out a form and we could go by and check on their home. We also have the S&T program. So the Safe Neighborhood Team program, where we have residents go to, every other month and they can bring up issues that are happening in the community so that we can address. We have Coffee with a Cop. We have PSO bike patrols that we implemented so that we could be closer to our residents. We have equipment like drones and most recently automated license plate readers for stolen vehicles and other types of crimes. And again, more recently, an ordinance that gives us the ability to deal with catalytic converter theft and the etching event in addition to other crime fighting tools. So what you have before you is a home security camera rebate program. It's fairly simple. It's been done in other cities. And I can go through basically the summary of that. And again, the intent of the program is to help deter crime and assist law enforcement with investigations. What it is a $100 rebate for a security camera device that was purchased for at least $200. It's for residents of Santa Fe Springs. The rebate will be processed until funding, $10,000 is exhausted. The camera must be installed and capture the front of the property, and the applications will be accepted in person at the PSC, or they can be mailed in. And that basically sums up what this program is. Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
So how did we come up with the amount of $10,000? Because the way this reads is we're gonna do a $100 rebate up to $100, up to $10,000. So we're basically doing 100 houses.
Yes.
How many houses do we have in San Francisco?
Based on the housing element I looked at, it's around a little over 3,000 out of the 5,100 units, it looks like.
So we're maybe 4%.
I don't know what,
Blocks
the yeah,
of a city block.
right.
I love the enthusiasm of helping our security and securing our neighborhoods. But I would much rather see us up here coming up with a better conclusion to control the whole entire city and not 100 houses. Because if 100 houses within the same block area, how does that secure? And security cameras don't deter criminals the way we think it does. And
Well,
I would like to ask our officers, how many cases have they solved based on home security cameras?
So there's a couple of things there that I guess
No, go ahead. You can-
yeah, so a couple of things, and then if the captain wants to answer something. So you're right, in some respects that the cameras don't solve the problem, but it's better than not having any cameras. So it does deter criminals, and it also assists law enforcement. If there's video of someone doing something, then it helps us in the investigation. Secondly, is that this would be the beginning of an ongoing rebate program. So it's $10,000 until the funds are exhausted. And then the proposal would be bring that forth the next year also. So it would continue until the council deem not to.
But wouldn't it be, how much the cameras that we just purchased for the street lights and the license plate readers and stuff like that,
Right.
that being in effect, have we captured a lot more crime going with those cameras than we have with maybe a security camera?
So what I would answer that is, we do capture crimes, right? But there's not a silver bullet. I mentioned several programs that we have. They encompass fighting crime. So it's not only the ALPRs, it's not only the ordinance, it's not only the S&T, it's not only the flyers. It's a lot of information that we're trying to get out to the public to create awareness, and it's another tool for crime fighting.
I'm 100% behind you, but I wish that we do it in a bigger, I wish we would have more of a thought process on who sets the limits, how the money's being spent, and where it's going, because this is just, where did this come out of? I mean, did you just think of $10,000 out of a budget that we haven't even budgeted for this year? And we just finished our budget. So why would this not be in the budget before if it was a thought process?
Well, like some items, they're not all in the budget. Secondly, I was working on this, but I wasn't prepared to bring it as part of the budget process because it wasn't well thought out and established. Now that I am, I'm bringing it forth to see if you guys would like to approve this.
I'd like to say something if I would. This has been a long-going request from our residents for, I'm in the Safe Neighborhood team for about 5 years now. And Dino, could you please tell me other cities that have had this rebate program and the amounts that they have used until exhausted?
Sure, there's a city of Lakewood that does it. I don't know the exact amount. There's Washington DC that does it. There's Baltimore that does it. They're a little bit different. I just thought $10,000 was an adequate amount based on my experience, based on it being possibly an ongoing program that we would do, that would continue to do. So it would just be the beginning of something that we would continue to do throughout the years if you guys would approve it.
So Mayor,
I
So
wanted to,
on
I
your-
wasn't finished. I wanted to say that I personally have 3 cameras. And I really do feel like I'm shielded, I'm safe because they ring or they vibrate, let me know someone's coming to the door. I don't know how many of our residents in the audience or how many of us on the dais have cameras in our homes, but they do make you feel safer. I really like this program. I think it's positive for our community. There are some residents living in Santa Fe Springs that simply cannot afford to buy things like this and they do not have cameras. And I feel like we have them and we can afford them, but there's some people that can't. So I think it's a good program to start and hopefully we can increase it. And it's a good process. I spoke to Dino and thank you, Dino, for explaining the application process and how a person would get refunded with the rebate program. So I personally think it's a great program for our residents that need this program. Like I said, there's some people that don't, and if you don't need it, then that's good. But the residents that do need it, let's give it to them. I really am for this program.
So I just have a question. In your Safe Neighborhood meeting, you guys talked about this?
Yes,
Because I asked Dino that and
I
Dino
think
said,
you were in one of those meetings
no,
as well.
I wasn't.
I think so.
Well, Dino said he's never heard it from the Safe Neighborhood meeting. So that's why I'm asking you. But, and then the second thing is, would these cameras only be a one-time deal for a household? So if you got it this year and basically $100 is only going to buy one camera. So, or next year, are you going to be able to get another camera and do the same rebate?
Sure, so let me clarify one thing is, I haven't heard it at the SNT, that's correct, but I don't attend them regularly. So I might go once or twice a year. So that's handled by one of our supervisors. Would it be, again, the question was, if you already have a camera, would you
No,
get it?
no, if you buy, let's say you qualify this year and you
Right.
get, because basically you're buying one camera. One camera is $100. So
Well-
one camera you buy, let's say this year, or next year, are you eligible to, if we do this again, are you eligible to get another camera the following year?
Again, no, but if that's something that you would like to clarify when this rebate program, we can.
So this is not in the paperwork right now to clarify whether you can continuously get this program every year.
Yeah,
Usually a rebate program, we were once a year and
Or one per
yeah,
family.
Madam Mayor, and maybe that detail wasn't thought out, but I would think, as you said, there's 4,000 household. If someone has one already, we probably would get those 4,000 others first and let them get their second camera. So I would say that would take some time. And I've dealt with this when I was the city manager of Rolling Hills. There was a similar program and Ring was putting these all out throughout the country where they were providing a discounted Ring camera and then cities were buying them at a completely or a discount. In the 3 cities on the peninsula, except for the fourth, us did not do it. Not because it was not a good program, is that our city attorney said, you're that's a gift of public funds because you're only talking about Ring. This program is not, it's open for any type of camera system. It's not a Ring program, it's a security camera program. And so there, I think that's one detail they did figure out. I think we would add that you couldn't get a second camera until every resident got their first camera first. And how big you go, this is $10,000. If you want to go 50,000, you can do that. You can go $500 if you want to, but you always start at some point to see if it works.
Right. I have a question. So if technically, if you really can't afford this, you're very low income. Well, these are ran off of Wi-Fi. Who's paying for the Wi-Fi? Are we doing any maintenance? Is that all that we're not doing any of that? I think my question is, do we have paperwork? Do we have signage? Do we have all the details before we agree to? I mean, we will like the idea. I don't think nobody does not want the idea, but do we have it already like in paper, like all the stuff?
Yeah,
What's it about? What's
Yeah.
everything? Because I haven't seen anything. I don't know if any of you guys seen anything, like what exactly is like the contract on it? Have you guys seen anything yet or not?
It's in the notes. If you read your agenda notes, it shows the application and the process. And a lot of our residents, if they don't have Wi-Fi, they would know that the camera requires Wi-Fi, but Dino is putting it together where it's all set out and explained to us. So I think that he explained it very well. I talked to him earlier. We went over the agenda and the items that you would need in order to get these cameras.
So the application is attached to the agenda memo.
No, I-
So yeah, it's there. And it's for the purchase of the camera and it has to be installed. So that's all. The initial purchase is what we're doing. Secondly is there are cameras that are Wi-Fi, but there are also ones that are wired with a DVR. And based on what I've looked at, there's some that run from $150 or less to more expensive brands. It's
It
up.
has to be, something
yeah.
that's purchased has to be at least $200 that the residents have to purchase over $200.
Yeah,
And
it's,
then they bring you your receipt and then you go from
Mhm.
there.
that's correct.
Now, I'm just asking a question. So if someone already has cameras, we put them on like on a second tier, and the people that have no cameras, they're the first ones that are able to get them, correct?
If you want to do that, yes.
Mhm.
I think that would be good. I think it would be
But
the people that really need them, that don't have cameras.
Could we get, I mean, everything's good. I don't think any of us have a problem with it. I think just maybe just a little more clear on the footage. I mean, on the verbiage, so we can have this approved. I don't think there's a problem with that, but I think just little things in there, I think make a difference, so people don't take advantage of it and leave it for the people that really do need the cameras.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is just add a few things to it. Would you like this to come back? Would you like to approve it with those caveats? How?
I
what would
think
you like to do?
John had a question, then I had a question after that, so
Okay.
I mean, unless we don't get a turn.
Well,
Everyone gets a turn.
nobody. Okay, well, before my question, yeah, I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here and a question for Dino and also the captain. We've had issues in the past in our cities, unfortunately, where people do have Ring cameras and they could have seen something, but they're not willing to disclose, or we can't see the video. I know we can't obligate a person to show us their video if something did happen on the street, if they captured something. And this could be a question, a legal question. Can we obligate them if they're going into this program, if something were to occur there, that we need to see this footage? Otherwise, what's the point of having a camera? I don't know if that's even possible.
Councilmember Mora, we'd have to look into that. There's more implications if you convert this from a simple rebate program to ongoing obligations with the camera. So that would change the nature of the program. We'd have to look more into that.
Okay.
It's a much simple, much more, it's a simpler program if it's just a straight rebate for the camera purchase. If you include ongoing obligations, it really deserves more review.
Okay, well, I just thought, maybe we could encourage them if that were to happen. And so also to clarify, so this is going to be a one-time, first-time camera purchase for those that qualify based on their income, right?
No, it's not based on income.
Not based on income,
No,
so
it's based
anybody.
on $200, at least $200 before taxes.
First come, first serve.
First come,
come,
first serve until the funds are exhausted.
Okay,
However, council member, if you'd like to see some criteria, that could be changed on an amendment, but that's up to you. But that's not how it was structured.
I'd like to explore that, because if you could afford a camera, then you could afford a camera. And those that really need one, that's, I think, what the basis of this whole program is for those that are unable to purchase a camera.
Gino, I mean, I just want to thank you for the fact that what you wrote on the report. I know that you wrote information that gives us the guidance that we see. And we know up here that we can make any amendments possible for the agenda, for the item. I know, John, you hit a great valid point when it comes to people who have cameras. We can't mandate them, and a lot of them are intimidated or scared because their name goes on the report. And of course, to prosecute, that person's going to have to come in, and they actually don't want to because there's the fear of any type of retaliation, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. So, hearing what you're saying about the cameras, I mean, this is where we could probably precisely put cameras maybe on certain corner homes that we see there's a lot of action, and, create a different system, including the camera system, having both, but, where we can actually figure out solutions to actually, be able to process the camera ourselves, where we as a city become the primary person that goes to the court and defends it instead of having the homeowner. I think the law itself, when you have the homeowner do it, makes it very difficult. I know that we've had several instances on certain streets where we've asked people for cameras. They're probably going to tell you they don't work. We don't want to show you. I see our chief and our captain laughing, so I take it that it is happening. So they're not laughing at they're laughing because it is true. They go multiple times and they're asking these things, and we know that cameras in itself has actually done us a great justice here. The license plate reader cameras, We've even had other cameras in. We want to make sure that we institute the cameras that do get a lot of pings. And I guess what we're trying to do here, and when it comes to crime prevention, you have to just look at how can we evolve in other possible solutions. And, you know, having a Ring or having whatever camera system does help out, you know, especially when it comes to criminals. If it's a lighted area, of course, you know, and there's, you know, any criminal activity, they know with the camera being there, it does help out. So, I mean, if we can just do whatever we can to amend certain items, I mean, Dino, bringing it back is probably the best thing for all of us here, because what I look at is there is some confusion. Of course, we do have the agenda that, you know, of course, we just, you know, we can also look up and do our due diligence to look up other cities and see what they're doing. And, you know, I know Jay had asked a question with Captain or Chief. If you guys have any input, if you guys can give it at this time, you know, what you guys would think. I mean, we know, other than the part that we can't force somebody to use, you know, to use their camera, but all we need is that one courageous person to actually allow it. And once it opens the door like that, makes it a lot easier, because taking one criminal off the street is still taking one criminal off the street.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My comment would be simply that the more cameras that we have out in the community, there really is a benefit, I think, to public safety. Routinely, when something happens in a neighborhood, at a business, one of the first things our patrol officers look for are cameras in the area. So whether that be in the residential areas, commercial areas, I mean, Alpers, you add that whole layer of protection, anything that we have out in the community, both business and residential, is going to help. Excuse me. Can we mandate people to turn over that footage? No, we have to have cooperation. It's a partnership. That's what we stress with residents and business owners, that, hey, we want to find these people. We want to prosecute them. We want to keep the community safe. And that's what our goal is. But any program I think that the city can adopt that kind of adds cameras in communities, I think is going to be a win-win for everybody involved.
So what do you think if we actually made, you know, some kind of affidavit or something that they sign saying that they want to participate in you know, in releasing their camera footage, if their camera footage did, you know, capture any kind of criminal activity? Do you think that would be, you know, is that something, you know, plausible? Of course, it's a legal matter too, but, you know, just to have something like that in place would probably help out.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll just say that I think we can encourage that
Yes.
and try to promote that as part of the program if you do move forward with this.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think, again, as the city attorney has mentioned, I don't think we can mandate anybody to hand over footage or whatever the case may be. Again, we operate under the suggestion that we cooperate. I mean, I guess we've seen things in the neighborhood that have gone down, like you mentioned, and people are reluctant. I understand that, because they ultimately have to, you know, possibly testify or whatever the case may be. But if we do have people who are willing to put cameras on their homes and share that information, that's kind of, I guess, the way we want to operate. As far as legally mandating people to hand that over, having them sign an affidavit, I don't know legally if that is permissible. That would be probably, we would have to do more research on that to find any legal precedent for that.
I got a question for Kepners. The cameras that we've installed right now, that we've just installed, that you guys strategically put in certain places, have those helped with information on crime that you guys are able to locate and see certain aspects
Yes,
of
most
things?
definitely. We've
So-
made several arrests with our Alpers cameras throughout the city. We've returned stolen vehicles to victims. We've, you know, it also, you know, registers, or if that license plate comes back to somebody who's wanted for, you know, a shooting or an assault with deadly weapon in another city, or our city or Whittier or surrounding communities, that is an alert that goes out to our dispatch center, our patrol officers, and we've taken several people.
So how
off the
many more
streets.
would we need to strategically surround our community with those cameras? Because right now we're still short on cameras, correct?
We have 20 cameras in the city right now. We've talked about adding some more.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of looking at that strategically to kind of get better coverage for all areas of the city.
And
How much are those cameras?
They're $60,000, $60,000. for them.
Okay.
Not each.
Not each. It's
Oh, for
six
the
thousand.
total, for
Yeah,
the 20
the total.
cameras
Yeah.
that we have right
Yeah,
now,
but-
it's $60,000.
For all 20.
Yes,
So each one is about 10,000,
sorry?
10,000 per camera?
No, it's the total lease.
Oh, total. oh,
1 year
okay,
lease
gotcha.
is $55,000 for 20 cameras.
You could put ring cameras on all the light poles or something. No, it'd be cheaper.
I just wanted to say that I think that having assurance, just say you and your kids are home, you have a dog in the backyard, you have a front yard with no fence, you have ways of getting into the front, but you have protection in the back, but you have those ring cameras. I think it's just self-assurance to a person knowing that I have those cameras. If they walk by, it's just like the light goes on. If somebody walks by, my camera's going to go on. You're going to feel safer. And I think that's positive. I think that this is something that we need in our city. And our residents have been requesting this for the last, I've been on the Safe Neighborhood team for years, but really for the last 5 years, they've really been requesting this. And I think it's a great program and I don't want to pass it up. I think we should do this, help our residents.
Yeah, I got some. What if we could set this up as maybe like a pilot program? Let's see how this works out. And if unfortunately there's crime that happened in these houses that have the ring cameras, let's see what the responses of the public. I know we can't force them, but we'll set up our criteria to see who gets a camera. I think it is a great idea. I think I'm not arguing that. That's not a great idea. But at the same time, let's look into increasing our surveillance with cameras up and down the streets. I think that could be, that way nobody has to hand over any footage and nobody has to testify. But I think as a pilot program, I think it could work out if we have a certain criteria.
I think it's great. And we want to be easy to do business with our residents, our seniors, a lot of people that aren't, don't know too much about the IT, not saying that the seniors, I'm just saying that if you don't know, the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center is there to help with technology and getting you up to, because you can actually do this on your own or be like me. I let my grandkids help me to do something like this and they set everything up. So I just want to be easy to do business with and I don't want for somebody to go into the police service center and have 20 pieces of paper to fill out. And it's discouraging. Let's make it easy for our residents. Dino, I think that you should check with other cities that have done this and look at their process because I've heard positive remarks from the different cities, various cities. So please look into the other cities' processes and see how they handle that. And, we can move forward with this item.
And also, if you don't mind, when Jay asked the question about, our Councilmember Sarno asked a question and he brought up cameras, and this is the part where I would ask our Whittier PD, if you guys don't mind, if you guys can actually, give information about the different cameras, like our license plate reader camera, and give the explanation what it does, and actually even give some, successful stories on what it did too, and also if we, we're talking about the cameras that we have in general, what does that do? And, because when we hear, oh yeah, it pinged, a car coming in from over here, we understand what it means, but, for this, the resident, they're not going to understand that. And so we have to say, the more transparent we are in saying what we're doing, it makes it easier. Because a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a catch-22, Big Brother's watching. And it's actually not Big Brother watching. It's for their own self-defense, because honestly, most people, some people want to be armed at home, some don't. And sometimes the biggest protection you have is, other than a Rottweiler or a big dog, is actually a camera. Some people will, have used strategies of buying ADT stickers. I think you guys have given strategies like that at the Safe Neighborhood team. Even though you don't have cameras, you just buy them and put them on your windows, and they're saying use different outlets just to, ward off any criminal or anybody that may think about it, and it just makes it easier. So if you can do that, in the meantime, and then if we can bring this item back, maybe in a month, if you guys are okay with that. Yeah.
So I don't disagree with what we're saying up here. So why don't we do this? Why don't we allocate $100,000 to this program, but put 20 cameras that we usually have for the streets into this program? And then whatever's left, we can give it to the residents from
We're already in the process of actually buying those.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
members of council. So just to let you know, so we're working on a number of things. You all are talking about things. So
Yeah,
the Ring cameras or the home
Are
security
very
cameras are just another tool for our toolbox when it comes to cameras. We already have the ALPR parent cameras. You've already gave us direction that you want
Yes.
that not one entry point in the city will not be covered. We're working on that. We're getting on the number of cameras on that. So we'll give you a total amount we need. Secondly, with regards to the, what we call it kind of the solar cameras that we put on Danby, that we added a recent one because there was a shooting and an incident on a corner. So we actually put one right off the Danby that was least used, put it there and ordered another one. So it would be covering that area. Wherever we need to add to that toolkit, we will. When it comes to park cameras, we have some out there, but we're also finalizing our Wi-Fi study, and we're going to have coverage throughout all our parks. When that is completed, we're going to put more cameras through Wi-Fi systems out in the parks. So we're going to be coming back to you with a number of programs regarding cameras, and we'll give you exactly what we need for each of them. When it came to this home security program, we can't have $10,000, but you can say that's too much, that's too little. We start off with that amount, and I think there's more than 50 cities in the area that have already done this. So we can like a lot of examples of what works and what doesn't. You guys brought some great ideas of some criteria that we should add to it.
And this is.
I wanted to say too that
Yeah.
I don't want to delay this. I want this back on the next agenda item. So let's not delay it. If we're going to hold off,
Vote now.
let's vote right now.
I mean, but first off, I mean, we got to make sure when we do this, because you got to get all the verbiage. So you have to understand, Jay, when you say $100,000, we already have cameras going to a different program. So we have to make sure it's specified just for this program because we're already in the process. I mean, they did talk to all of us. Yes,
Security, if
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna blanket it, that's
Yeah.
blanket it for security then.
Ex-
That's why.
exactly. So this will fall under the umbrella program. So if you're looking at, saying $50,000 or even $100,000, I mean, no more than $100,000, but just to say in general, like, I mean, Dino, I'm pretty sure you heard, and I'm sorry, Ivy, I know we said a lot of verbiage, so to add all that as an addendum is gonna be pretty difficult to make that motion. So how would you recommend we make this motion then?
I think we need some clarification because right now, the proposed program is first come, first serve, and you had some discussion about adding criteria to who would be eligible. And so I think we would need some clarification
How
on.
about if you don't mind, if we do like a subcommittee, like,
Can't you just do she's on the safe neighborhood team and you're the liaison?
yeah.
So why don't you two just do it
Mhm.
and then talk to Dino, go through the whole thing and then bring it
Just
back.
get it
All right.
done.
I think that's good.
That's quicker.
And we're okay with 100,000 allocating, or you want to do what?
I-
I mean, I know it's safety.
Do 10,000, we're gonna do 100 houses. We're not gonna get nobody to, what are we covering? A block.
We're not.
So if we're gonna do it, then do it the right way.
So I am hearing that the council is considering creating a subcommittee consisting of the mayor and the mayor pro tem to work with the director of police services to develop this program to bring it back to the full council.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
correct, but we need a record that you're creating this council subcommittee. And when would you like it brought back?
I'd like to
week.
bring it back at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sooner
Does
the
that
better.
give you enough time, Dino?
It depends on what you want on it, right?
Mhm.
Depends on what all the things you want to add.
Have them as a sub, maybe you guys can add some people from your safe neighborhood meeting.
Right. We'll
And
get it,
then-
we'll get it
That would be
together.
perfect.
We'll get you the
Yeah.
information,
Just call,
Dino.
Yeah.
you guys can do
We can do
that
it.
and then
Okay.
ideas and then bring it back to us.
Could be done.
Okay, we won't delay it. And Dino, I want to thank you because this
Yeah,
is,
Thanks, Dino.
this, like I said, it's
Yeah.
long awaiting and we're going to do this for our residents. Thank you so much for bringing it up to the agenda.
So the motion would be to continue this item or table this item? What would you rather have us do, Ivy?
The motion would be to create an ad hoc committee of the
Yes.
council consisting of the mayor and the mayor pro tem to work with the director of police services to develop this program and bring it back at the next meeting.
All right, I make that second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Thank you. Item number 12, purchase of one 2022 new unused F-750 mechanics truck from Rush Truck Centers. I would like to call on Director of Purchasing, Paul Martinez.
I'll move.
Yeah, we'll just move.
Yeah.
And
we
you
already-
stay there.
No, hold on. We need a second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll move
I'll second.
12 and 13.
Wait.
Yeah, 12, 13 and 14
15 is mine too.
and 15.
16, 17.
All those in favor, say aye.
Oh, no, we need a second.
Aye.
Yeah, and now it's all.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those
Thanks,
opposed?
Paul.
Great job, Paul. This is the
Excellent.
best
So
report.
ordered.
Great job. Great job.
Item number 16, residential street improvements, slurry seal, 2022, authorization to advertise for construction bids. I would like to call on Director of Public Works, Noe Negrete.
No motion?
I'll move.
I'll second it.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
We know what you,
Yeah, we already
Has to be
know,
done,
you
we
know,
know.
so we read it.
Aye.
we're good.
All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 17, Activity Center Haunted House Assembly of Temporary Walls and 2022 Haunted House Event. I would like to call on Parks and Recreation Services Manager, Gus Hernandez.
You're stuck there.
Gus really wanted to say this report, you guys, so just to let you guys know.
This came really quickly. Is there a motion?
We have a question.
We have a whole,
No, actually, we want to explain this one. So, yeah, Gus, go ahead.
We're gonna make up all those other questions all for you.
We have a 30-minute presentation plan, but I'll try to condense this. So the item that we bring before you is the Activity Center Haunted House and Assembly of Temporary Walls. So the annual Haunted House event has traditionally been held at the Activity Center. As a result of the state of emergency imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Haunted House was canceled in 2020 and 2021. In previous years, the Haunted House is traditionally assembled in-house by city staff in the Department of Public Works. Unfortunately, due to various unrelated maintenance tasks and other ongoing projects, the city does not have the staffing levels to support the assembly of the Haunted House in-house. As such, an administrative decision was made to publicly solicit bids for the assembly and removal of the Haunted House by a contractor. On July 21, the city received a total of one bid at $52,800. This item is included in the 2022-23 fiscal year budget. This project will require an additional appropriation of an additional $12,800, as we currently have $40,000 allocated for this project right now. As far as infrastructure, the Haunted House will be open from October 27th through October 31. This is a temporary structure, and the assembly of the Haunted House would begin on September 27th, and full removal will be removed by November 12th. So the recommendation, if we wanted to proceed with the Haunted House, would be to appropriate an additional $12,800 for the general fund reserves, to accept the bid, and to award a contract to Calderon Built Inc. in the amount of $52,800. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions?
Got a question.
I'll go ahead.
Okay, how many days is the haunted house gonna run? 3 still?
No, so it'll be
All right.
from October 27th through the 31st,
4.
4 days.
Okay. 4 nights. Okay. And they bring everything, correct? They bring all the props and everything else?
That's ours.
Yeah,
They're
so
they're using
we
ours.
currently own all of the walls. And so those are currently in storage. And so our public works team would still deliver them. They would simply remove them from the Conex boxes and assemble the actual Haunted House.
Yeah,
And take it down.
okay, and then are we using volunteers again for the monsters and everything else, or is it staff?
Correct. So we would use a
Volunteers.
combination of volunteers and staff.
Okay.
We use approximately 20 to 25 of our teen volunteers that assist with this program.
The only thing that's changing is the contractor. Before it was Public Works, everything else is, and the price, of course. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I was going to say that why we're here is that we could have probably accommodated it, but I wanted to make sure council know that this was budgeted for $40,000, going up another $12,800. I didn't feel comfortable just to do that. I wanted to know since this is a change, are you okay with that change? Because before this was done by our own employees. So now spending that extra money now over 50,000, if you were, if that was acceptable to you, fine. If it wasn't, we wanted you to know.
And I know one thing too, just to let you guys know, I mean, I'm sorry, I wanted, I don't know if you were trying to talk.
Go ahead.
All right. So I don't know if you guys heard this from Gus, but I know that they're saying that our Public Works Department is going to be overstaffed, oversaturated. So it's probably going to be really difficult and I'm not saying a burden because I know they love doing this. And it'd be really difficult. So I think this is something that, I mean, it's, might be the real practice in the future, but unless we get more staffing for our Public Works, that would probably be the only way that we'd be able to bring it back in-house. So I just wanted to state that, I know that was one of my questions that I had with Gus earlier. So,
That's
off the record. So I
Our
just wanted
public
to bring
works
that.
team I haven't been here for the actual build, but I
Yeah.
hear a lot of positive things about the assembly that our public works staff has provided in years past.
We all know what it's for. It's for Dale Covington. And this is the reason why we're keeping it. Financially, to me, it's a lot. It's for it only being 4 days, not having the volunteers and having it, not having what it used to be, more cost effective. Could we maybe not have it, but still make the whole carnival, like the Covington Halloween Fest, and maybe next year bring back the haunted house or see what we can do? Because 52,000 is just, to me, it seems so much. And maybe we can combine, mazes or something and see, because you guys are so creative, maybe we can do something. So maybe not have the haunted house this year, save that money, come up with something, just because 52,000 to me seems so much, even though we know the meaning and we love it. And it just seems a lot.
Well, maybe what we can do too is just to piggyback off of what you're saying, maybe instead of it being 4 days, we can actually do it for a week, maybe a week and a half. You guys want it open longer? It's up to you guys, because then at least that there is some use out of it. A lot of these things are volunteer hours, and I know a lot of these kids from the community get hours for it. They do depend on it. So maybe if we add more time, it gives them more hours that they need for their schooling. That's something we could do. I know this is something that hold on, everybody. Janie had a phone call. So, I guess it wouldn't be bad to say if I lost my train of thought, right? But yeah. So extending the days, and then of course, giving the kids a chance to get more of the hours, because I know some of these kids love it, and it keeps them off the streets. And I know 52,000. I mean, I know it is a high budget. I mean, when we look at it, I know we just gave 100,000 for cameras, and it's something completely different. But the safety of our kids, I mean, them doing something giving them the ability to express their artistic ability and scaring the living daylights out of us is what they want to do. Maybe we got to do something that, I mean, just to rip the Band-Aid off now, it would be pretty difficult, but I'm in favor of, extending it, for more days, just so we can get more time out of it. If you want to do a week and a half, that's something we can do.
If I may, real quick, Councilmember Martin, to your comments, if it is council's prerogative to move forward with a different direction in regards to the haunted house, our staff is very creative. I believe that we would need a new appropriation of funds for the Halloween Carnival to enhance that program, similar to what we did last year, where we added $10,000 or an amount not to exceed $10,000. And we were able to add inflatables. And to Mayor Pro Tem's comment about extending the haunted house, if we do extend it, we would need additional time as well. So it would mean additional closure times and funding.
Yeah.
Staff funding.
So if we do inflatables, like, what do you think it's going to cost us then if we do something that just, surrounds the whole park in general?
Last year, we spent close to $10,000 only on inflatables, and I believe that was 4 inflatables that we brought on.
And if we brought a maze like in the middle of the, you know, what's that, what would that cost us? Something that,
We could certainly look into those costs.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if you come back by, I mean, we still have some time. If you come back with us, I mean, it's, you know, a maze, you know, more inflatable, something. I think it'd be more cost effective.
My thing is, I just don't know where $52,000 in labor comes into play
Mm.
with this. I mean,
Yeah.
This is all of
Yeah.
our stuff, and I can't see us spending $52,000 on labor when we're talking about the safety and we're gonna only put 10,000. I would much rather put $52,000 into our community with cameras than
Yeah.
for 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of a haunted house. So, I mean, I would love to see more stuff in the field, but if you guys we have to vote on this in the manner, but we can't just keep throwing money away, and
when
not getting value for it.
You know, what if
I
we?
saw this
Oh.
amount, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, no, you know, on that thought, it's a lot, but of course, at the same time, we do want to do something for our community, for the kids. And, you know, you had mentioned that we got several different types of inflatables, mazes, maybe even a bull riding machine or something. Just create an entire Halloween carnival atmosphere, but we'll do it out in our park. And see, if we could maybe be able to cut this by 40,000. Maybe just, and like I said, we have a little bit more time. And you have an incredibly creative staff, so I know they'll come up with some kind of a Dale Covington scary thing out there. But we'll, you know, we got the use of the entire park. And but have mazes and inflatables, and maybe it could be just a very mini haunted house that our staff could create on not the entire use of the activity center, but maybe at a little bit smaller scale where it could be more cost effective.
Carnival rides usually have like haunted houses that we can maybe
I think bring it in a truck.
trailer and get them to come and like with the glass and have people in there scaring people and.
We'd have to look into the requirements for an actual, like carnival rides. Those are different requirements than what we're typically used to in our special events, but it's something that we could certainly explore.
so if we set aside, like if we say not to exceed or $25,000 or 30, if you want to do that, except, I mean, it's still under the 52,000.
What was
800.
the original budget for this? Was it 40?
Yeah.
It was already set aside?
So we had a
But if-
$40,000 allocated.
Yeah, but if we're gonna
Yeah.
cut the contract pretty much, you know, they're talking about inflatables and everything, then they don't even, yeah.
25, right?
Yeah, is it 25?
So you would eliminate the haunted house that's constructed?
Right.
Okay.
This year.
Only
year.
this, yeah.
This year.
And just to
We'll
let
look at
you,
it next year.
and just let you know, I know we're hiring more people in public works, but it's really our longer term objective. Besides that, we want them to do street infrastructure work, not haunted house work. So we really never going to bring that back. So that's gone in our mind. We're not bringing in-house staff to do those haunted houses again. That's going to be, we're using those guys to do work out in the street in our field.
Well, I would like to see if we can maybe reach out to our community and, I mean, how many construction people do we have here that, you know, we can donate some time and to start doing those things and start helping. I mean, I know I would. So, I mean,
You-
I believe we'd have to probably reach out to our human resources.
You know,
in regards
yeah.
to those
For the liability.
requirements.
oh,
Madam Mayor.
liability, yeah.
Yeah, we tried that because the reason why this thing was is for Dale Covington, and there was a lot of old past employees that wanted to come and do it, that wanted to do it for free, but it was stopped because of HR saying it's a safety hazard and all this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of old,
Liability.
yeah, a lot of liability, they said.
Yes.
So should-
I wanted to say too that it is a lot. I think that we could cut it down. And I wanted to tell you to the restrooms, we need to make it friendly for people with disabilities. The restrooms, changing stations, just my grandson's potty trained, but there's so many residents in our community that they have their children that are not potty trained yet. They only have them in the women's restroom. Men change their kids too now, or I don't know, but I want to say now, but you know, men change their kids too. And I want to make sure that we keep up with the times when we have events at our parks. I want to go into the restroom and make sure that we have the changing station for the men's restroom. People with disabilities that, you know, some of our disabilities, they're adults and other people take care of them. We need to have accommodations for all of our residents. So please, maybe with the money that we're saving, we can go and make sure that all of our restrooms have these accommodations for all of our residents. Please, it would be great.
Or we'll connect with our public works team and we'll discuss those matters.
Okay, thank you.
I want to be clear on that. You're talking about porta potties, not talking about the permanent restroom.
The permanent restrooms.
That would be a different.
Yeah,
project.
that's a different
Yeah,
thing.
that's
So it'd be the
CFP.
porta potties, just to have ample space.
We wouldn't do that just for an event basis.
No, the porta potties,
Porta potties we can look
Yeah.
into.
just, that's it.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
So could we motion that we
We would amend.
amend it?
Yeah. You can make a
So
motion.
council, what I heard being discussed was not moving forward with this contract
Mhm.
and to direct staff to bring back Halloween options within an amount of $25,000. That's what I heard you discuss.
I'll move that.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? So ordered.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Gus.
Guys, and just as a reminder, our Halloween carnival this year will be on Saturday, October 29th.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 18, presentations, proclamation declaring September 9th, 2022 as the Fiestas Patrias cultural celebration in the city of Santa Fe Springs. I would like to call on the city clerk to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the city of Santa Fe Springs takes great pride in the cultural and historical backgrounds of its residents. And whereas the Department of Community Services seeks to recognize the rich cultural heritage of the city's residents through events such as the annual Fiesta Patrias celebration. And whereas the city of Santa Fe Springs is honored to celebrate its 55th year of this cultural traditional event. And now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Santa Fe Springs proclaims September 9th, 2022 as the official Fiestas Patrias cultural celebration. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I would like to call upon Parks and Recreation Services staff members, Leanne Leza, Diana Armendariz, and Edo Orozco to receive the proclamation. Thank you. And now we'd like to do 18B, proclamation declaring the month of September as National Senior Center Month in the city of Santa Fe Springs. I would like to call on the city clerk to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas older Americans are significant members of our society, investing their wisdom and experience to help enrich and strengthen our community. And whereas through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, senior centers empower older citizens of the Santa Fe Springs to contribute to their own health and well-being and the health and well-being of their fellow citizens of all ages. And now therefore be it resolved that the city of Santa Fe Springs proclaims September as National Senior Center Month.
Thank you. I would like to call upon the Senior Advisory Committee to accept the proclamation. And moving on to item number 19, city managers and executive team reports. I would like to call upon City Manager Ray Cruz.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. Just briefly want to state that we have our annual workshop that we attend as staff and council with the Chamber of Commerce. That happened last week on August 11th to August 12th. As usual, it's a time of bringing us all together to do team building, relationship building. It's educational, and it's also a time for that the chamber can work on some objectives. And there was 4 that they had that we worked with them on as staff and council members. One was how to attract big businesses to the city of Santa Fe Springs. 2 was having better programs and events, and how can we offer anything different or new to their members, and ways to retain beyond the first year. So always that first year when you have a new member, how do you keep them on beyond the first year and stay longer? And then also ways to add to social media's effectiveness, as we all try to do here in the city and other places. So those are the 4 areas we were helping. Kind of ran out of time, so they're going to actually go back as a group and meet at their next board meeting to discuss what all was discussed in a small group. So good meeting. There's you can see up in the left corner was Travis. He gave his presentation on the status of the city's budget. And then Wayne, as usual, does all the economic development status and development process. Me and John in the left corner, and then me and the president this year, Dan O'Mara. And then here in the middle is everybody who attended. That included the board of directors of the chamber, even had one of the YEF board members there, all the staff of the chamber, city council that they're there, and also the city staff. So good time by everyone. And that's it for that event. And now I'd like to move on to Noe Negrete, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Ray. Just wanted to update on 2 projects. The first one is water well number 2. Move it for me, it's fine. Okay. If you recall, this site been inactive due to arsenic contamination. And you can see this is over at fire station number 3 on Carmenita, well number 2, and it's in a very tight location there. Next slide, please. So we did look at the motor and the pump assessment and the removal of that, so that way we can inspect the casing of that pipe. Next slide, please. We actually found a crack in the hydrodynamic tank in that big vessel there that you see. So we actually constructed a bypass line which went around that tank. That's that blue pipe that went around it. And that helped us continue the assessment to see if we can still revive this water well. Next slide, please. And then if you recall last year, we started the assessment and the chemical profiling. We wanted to make sure that arsenic was still the only contaminant that we needed to treat for. And we did a lot of testing there, once again, of the casing and the water quality. And it was found that that was still the only contaminant to treat for. Next slide, please. And in July, we actually removed that hydrodynamic tank and all the associated equipment there. And you can see we've cleared that site. So what we're working on now is we're looking at putting in a treatment system. The problem in the past, as early as 2012, 2011, the treatment systems were larger than the footprint that we had between the 2 walls.
Excuse me.
So we couldn't find any treatment that would be available to remove that arsenic. With technology and designs getting skinnier, we're looking at a potential treatment system that we can put in here that can get this well back operational, and we can get off of MWD water. So as we finalize what we think we can do here for a treatment system, we'll be bringing that back to you. We're looking at various systems, trying to be creative on how to fast track this as well. So we are thinking out of the box in terms of how to get this thing fast tracked. And we will be bringing that back to you here shortly in time. Next slide, please. And if you drove Pioneer Boulevard today or last week between Charlesworth and Los Nietos, you see we've started the construction on that street. Next slide. Primarily, most of the concrete flat work is getting done. The cross gutters and the spandrels has been the focus of their construction for the past 2 weeks. Today was our first concrete pour. So if you happen to drive by, they did get, I think, half of the spandrels done. on the entire site. They did focus in on the east side. They did get one on the west side, and they started the removal of the rest on the west side of the street. Next slide, please. There is inconvenience out there. So as you come to these locations, you can see there is a trench plate across. Just be very careful, drive very slow when you're driving over that. As you're making lefts or rights, again, just be very careful. At the end of the day, the cones are removed and the plates are left remaining to allow for more turning movements after the construction is done. But during the day, there is a lot of volume of work going on. Next slide, please. And that's just more cross gutters there. Once they finish the cross gutters, if everything goes well, at best case scenario is this Friday, they'll start grinding the asphalt. So again, probably not a street you want to be on when they're grinding. Worst case scenario is early next week, they'll start the grinding of the asphalt. They need to get all the concrete work done in advance of starting the asphalt work. And next slide. And then I'm happy to let you know that we did talk to the contractor about looking at some additional sidewalk in and around that area. We went 2 blocks all around, had that inspected by our staff, marked, and then we worked with the contractor on his pricing. And he's also doing a lot of concrete sidewalk work all around the neighborhood at the same time that he's doing the Pioneer Street Improvement Project. And I think that should conclude my report. Thank you.
Just real quick, just to add, Noe, Captain, if you don't mind, like, I noticed that it's still on the street, even though they're fixing the streets. If you guys can have more patrolling, because there's still a lot of big trucks going. And of course, if we have this foundation that we're trying to do a job on, and yet, I mean, you still see countless trucks, people keep calling it in, and it almost seems like in certain areas it's, you know, sinking in the, you know, the street. So we just got to make sure that these big trucks, these big rigs are following directions, because they're not right now. I mean, well, they continue not to do it. So if you don't mind having some more enforcement, especially while we're doing this, you know, thank you, sir.
Now, at this time, I'd like to bring up Wayne Morrell, Director of Planning.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, audience, staff. I just have one item. So earlier actually yesterday, we met with the organizers of the Heritage Aloha Festival. And we had promised them that after the event this year, we would get together with them to go over a debriefing, so to speak, because many of you remember last year what happened. And I always make the comment that I love attention, good, bad, or indifference. But last year, I did not like the attention when I was on social media as the planning director that could conceivably, because of the requirement, the festival would be canceled. So we were able to, actually it was this year, but we were able to work through all of the issues in terms of the permitting that would be required and the entire process, because there was some changes that were done in previous year. So we did meet with them. We had representative from fire, police, the city manager was also part of that meeting, public works. All the different departments were represented, and we went through each requirement from the respective department, so that this year, when they do have the festival, and there was a question as to whether or not they will be able to have the festival this year, but I did this search quickly on social media, and it's apparently they are going to do it, but they are concerned about some of the fees and the process. So hopefully the event, I think in terms of our meeting, it was well done, and they have everything that they would need to have a successful festival this year. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. We did keep our promise. We did meet with them.
We went over all the requirement painstakingly, so there shouldn't be any type of surprise if they were to proceed with the festival this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. And something Wayne and I just spoke before he got off or got on. We had a wonderful event that was the day after our last council member, and that was the groundbreaking for the Lakeland Laurel Homeless Veterans Project that's here in Santa Fe Springs. And that it got news coverage from all the big news affiliates, ABC, NBC, CBS, Telemundo, Univision. It was covered by everybody. And Supervisor Hahn was there and the mayor spoke. And just that we're on our way to building that complex. And it's going to be, we're trying to saying homeless to housed, where we're going to have interim housing for people who are homeless first, veterans, Santa Fe Springs residents that are veterans, then Santa Fe Springs families that are here, and then ultimately doing the rest of the region. And so it was highly praised, was a beautiful event, and we're going to be hopefully a year from now, Wayne, that should be dedicated, at least the interim portion was. Is that where we're at with that? Approximately a year, but we're going to bring pictures of that at the next meeting. We forgot to do that. So it's, I think 2 weeks kind of slipped by. A lot of things have been happening in the last 2 weeks. Thank you. So at this point, I'd like to bring up Dino Torres, Director of Police Services.
Next slide, please. Sure. So over the past few weeks, the department's had a few events take place. The first was National Night Out. That was on August 5th at Heritage Park. And that's where we teamed up with Community Services last summer concert. And this year's festivities included community booths, emergency vehicle displays, and a special appearance by McGruff and our inflatable police officer. So we want to thank the Whittier Police Department, the CHP, LA CADA, US Army, LA County Vector Control, the Fire Department, Starbucks, obviously Community Services for allowing us to participate with them. And they all provided fun giveaways and shared valuable information on programs and service. Next slide, please. And this past Saturday, we provided a catalytic converter etching event for our residents over at Soaring Dreams Plaza. There was a total of 32 participants, and so it was all filled up for the 4-hour period. And this was a joint event with Public Works, so I'd like to thank them and the public for participating. Last slide, please. Lastly, the schools in our community are back in session. The first ones were today. I think it was Rancho Santa Gertrudis. All the rest of the schools start tomorrow. And as we do every year, public safety staff is at the schools every day for the first 2 weeks, promoting pedestrian safety and emphasizing the importance of obeying traffic and parking laws. So we look forward to doing that. We do it every year. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. And now let's bring up Fire Chief Brent Hayward.
Thank you, Ray. Madam Mayor and Council, good evening. If I could get the first slide. Just wanted to give an update on where our personnel are in the state at this point. Captain Mike Glaze returned last week from the Kenny fire up north. That fire is contained at 95% at this point at 60,000 acres. We have not had any requests for strike teams or engines at this point up north, so that's a good thing. We do have two fire line medics that are up north at the Lightning Complex fire. That's up in Humboldt and Trinity County. Paramedic Mike Palacios and Mike Garcia are both up there. Things are settling down. It's only at 19% and 21,000 acres, but things are settling down. And we're hoping to have those guys back early next week. So good news on that. Next slide. Just wanted to talk about the state and kind of where we're at, because last year this time was a pretty wild time. We're still not into the Southern California season yet, but just for the state of California so far in 2022, overall throughout the whole state, small, big, there's been 5,415 incidents. Excuse me. Last year, at the end of the year, there were over 9,000 fire incidents in the state of California. We're only at 198 or just a hair under 200,000 acres at this point. Last year, we finished up at over 2.5 million acres. The only increase in issues that we've had so far this year, last year there were only 3 firefighter or fire-related fatalities. We're already at 4. And we're at about a quarter of the structure loss at about 503 this year. So knock on wood, so far, things have been good. I know that 5,400 number is a big number, but there's a lot of activity, a lot of early suppression efforts that go into this. And that's why the acreage is where it is at and why we are here this week. Next slide. Last slide. I just wanted to point out real quick that speaking of good news, I just wanted to point out that in the September, October City Telegraph newsletter, we're proud of that the department is going to be featured in their spotlight. We want to thank Raylene for all her efforts and formatting of all the pictures and everything for us and make us look so good. I tried to highlight some of the other divisions within our department and explain what they do and how they operate, from administration to fire, environmental, fire prevention, and suppression. All those activities are highlighted in that article. So when it hits your mailbox, please take a look at it. If you have any questions, please reach out. But with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Now, Travis Hickey, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Just a quick update on the city sales tax. This is from the first quarter, so January through March of this calendar year. We met last week with the city's consultants. The January to March quarter for our sales tax was actually the best the city has ever seen. We did get some information related to that from our consultant. There was a major one-time receipt of money included in that. So you can see kind of in that middle area there was a 36% increase over the same quarter from the prior year. Overall, the county and state were both up, 21 and 17%. So it was a good quarter overall, but again, we received over $2 million as one-time adjustment related to the State Board of Equalization shifting Fashion Nova sales tax. And so their sales tax previously went to City of Vernon is now coming to the city of Santa Fe Springs. The council will recall that we in December entered into an agreement with Vernon. And so regardless of which city it goes to, we share that sales tax 50-50. And so a bit of mixed news with that. It was still a good quarter for the city, but not quite as good as we had anticipated due to that one-time adjustment. Next slide. This is on the left is our top 25 sales tax producers. That's always shown in alphabetical order due to privacy concerns for those businesses. You'll see Fashion Nova is included there. The slide on the right shows kind of by industry groups, the change from the same quarter in the previous year. You can see the green arrows all indicate people were up. The red, we had only one of our smallest kind of industries was down 5%. But other than that, good news overall for city sales tax. So again, that's January through March. About the middle of next week, we should get our final numbers for the quarter ended June, and then we'll know how we look for the whole year. So next slide. Shifting to human resources and NeoGov, on tonight's agenda, the council approved travel for 2 of our HR staff to attend the NeoGov conference so we can get a better usage out of that software. But we have recently gone live with our onboarding module of the NeoGov software. And so really it's a self-service online portal to be used with new hires. Next slide, please. So it's just kind of a look at the portal itself. So there's a lot of information there for our new hires so they kind of get consistent messaging when they are hired. There we can have the ability to add a message from the mayor, from the city manager. So we'll be working on that. Next slide, please. There's kind of specific different areas that can contain the documents our new hires will need, like this here, where they can look at our health plans, look at our PERS plans, and so forth. And next slide. And lastly, we have each department can have a slide or a portal part for the department that the person will work in, and they can see kind of some more department information for them. So again, we were testing this out, and now we've gone live with this online portal for new hires. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. And then finally, Maricela Balderas, Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Ray. So our summer season is coming to an end, and our community services department
was very busy hosting a variety of programs and events. And I want to give a recap of some of our summer programs. Start off with our summer day camp program. The summer day camp program, it came to a close on August 5th. The camp program operated at 3 sites, each 8 weeks in duration. The kids enjoyed arts and crafts, water fun, daily activities, and weekly field trips, highlighted by excursions to the LA Sparks game, Medieval Times, and Knott's Berry Farm. In total, there were 345 participants in all 3 sites. There were 255 residents, or 74%. Next item is our end of summer staff in-service training. On Thursday, August 11th, the Community Service Department hosted our end of the summer all-staff training. The training featured a guest speaker, Marie Knight, who is a retired Parks and Recreation Director, and she has served over 35 years in the industry. And she delivered an inspiring training to staff on leadership development. The staff members also had an opportunity to engage in dialogue about their experience working at the various programs so that we can ultimately continue to enhance our service delivery to the community. I'd like to thank Mayor Pro Tem Zamora for his attendance and his motivating message to our staff. Here's a short recap. In our summer arts and crafts program camp at Heritage Park, they hosted a summer art camp program from July the 25th through August 5th. There were 2 sessions and a total of 30 participants. And the sessions consisted of creating various art pieces through drawing, painting, and crafting in both indoor and outdoor settings at the Heritage Park. On the final day of the camp, the parents were invited to an art showcase at Heritage Park Train Depot to view the art pieces that were created by their children throughout the sessions. The program was well received by both parents and the kids. The camp was led by Heritage Park staff who really did a fantastic job guiding our young campers to make their creativity blossom, no matter what their artistic ability was. Then want to just recap on our summer and movie concert series over at Heritage Park. On August 5th, the Community Service Department, we hosted our final concert of the series featuring Mariachi Las Colibre. The summer series consisted of 5 concerts and 3 movie nights. The series also included participation for the Abigail Barraza Foundation and then the Police Services Department, who hosted their National Night Out event. Overall, the community feedback was extremely positive. In total, we had about 5,000 attendees across all of our 8 events. And our movies averaging between 200 and 300 participants per event. The concert averaged between 500 and 800 per event. So we're looking forward to continuing to expand the summer concert and movie series and getting ready for 2023. Here's a video that recaps that series.
lastly, I'm really excited to report that our new technology lab for our seniors had its grand opening yesterday at the Willie Gordon Learning Center located at the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center. We had 58 seniors who stopped by to look at the new facility. The new program was funded entirely by a grant of almost $30,000 from the California State Library. The space was transformed from a small circulating library bench into a comfortable space designed for seniors to use the computers and learn new technology skills. The lab has 13 new computers, new ergonomic computer furniture and equipment selected with seniors' needs in mind, a new printer, a new large TV monitor to facilitate computer classes. The lab users will be assisted by a team of tech-savvy library staff who's going to help the seniors with the lab computers and also assist them with their personal devices such as their cell phones and tablets. Classes will also be provided in both English and Spanish. The first class will be a drop-in class, and that's scheduled for tomorrow, and it'll be a quick introduction to the lab computers. The lab is going to be open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. I want to thank Public Works and IT staff for their assistance in helping us getting the senior tech lab ready. I also want to commend the library staff for their outstanding job that they did on this project. And I want to do a huge shout out to Mayumi De Vera for taking the initiative to apply for the grant and spearheading this much needed program for our seniors in our community. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam Mayor,
Marcelo.
Mayor, it's Brent. Hi. Could I speak again, please? I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody, I'm back. I was just reminded gently to talk about our potato bake event this Thursday from 11:30 to 1:30 at our headquarters fire station. Before I talk about that real quick, I just wanted to shout out to all the departments for the fundraising efforts that they're doing for the Relay for Life. The Relay for Life is September 24th. It's at the Betty Wilson Center. It starts at 11 in the morning and ends at 10 at night. Anyway, everybody's done a fantastic job. And that's one of the reasons why I wasn't talking about it, because our potatoes actually are almost sold out. Those calls were supposed to come in last night. We do have a few extras. I see the Aguirre's needed a couple, so we will see you there on Thursday. So if anybody is interested, we do have a few. Again, Thursday at our headquarters fire station starts at 11:30. And thank you again. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chief. Well, that was a good thing to bring back up. Something I forgot to bring out earlier, but I've been informing the council and the community that I was appointed to the League of California Cities City Manager Sales Tax Working Group. And I know this is kind of under the radar, but it's a huge issue because every proposal out there, we lose. And when I say we lose millions of dollars in sales taxes on the allocations that are being proposed. So it took me a lot to get on this committee, but I got on it. I got a city manager appointment, a department meeting appointment, and we've been meeting every month. And last month, we were asked by the committee to speak about our shared sales tax share agreement with the city of Vernon, and both Carlos Fandino, the city manager or city administrator from Vernon, and I spoke, and I'm glad they gave us, we didn't ask for this, they wanted to hear about it. And it really was helpful because on this Zoom committee, there's city managers and finance directors from cities across the state of California. And there are some that are very much like us, but most are big bedroom communities that have no revenue centers, no warehousing, no logistics, and are just trying to get a destination-based sales taxes, meaning they have nothing to do with the transaction, but since they have a lot of houses, if the item comes to their home, they get the money. And there's actually a policy directive that was passed in 2017. No one knew about in this committee, but the League of Cities, that's what they're pushing towards. And that would harm a lot of cities, especially us. So it was a good presentation. We shamed a lot of those cities that are doing these types of agreements and why we did it and how Fashion Nova's been a horrible actor when it comes to trying to extort money from both of us, and we didn't play. And I'm very proud of the city council who said, we'll lose that money. And they threatened to put it in this county pool. They didn't do it. They threatened, and they were so slimy. They went both to us again, both Vernon and us, to try to see if we would do the agreement with them. We did not do that. So now we are sharing the money. It's been great public policy. And so they heard about that. more importantly, that we've been doing these surveys after each meeting on things, how we should, what we should be moving towards as a committee to recommend to league and ultimately to our state legislature and governor. And I've been hitting hard business to business transactions, that they should not be considering that. That's been a long time revenue for cities that are industrial based, and we're one of them. And I've been hitting that and hitting that and hitting that. They're going, who the hell is this guy from Santa Fe Springs? Because I'm a little city compared to some big cities, but I've made our efforts known. And when we were going through the survey with Travis, Lana, Wayne, Kwong, Alvaro, on, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything, it was in the preamble of that survey. Guess what? They have taken business to business transactions off the table. My being paid the ass worked out because now it's not great anymore. They'll talk about other things, but that is off. That's 50% of our revenue not going to be touched. So I'm very pleased about, very proud of that. We're not out of the woods yet. That's just as of now. There's still probably 4 more meetings to go, but they took it out, you know, probably 2/3 into their meetings. So we just want to share that. That is my city manager report in the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. All right, moving on to item number 20, appointments to boards, committees, and commissions. Excuse me, Councilmember Martin. Thank you. Councilmember Mora.
We got David Ayala to planning, and Mark Fresquez moved him to traffic commission.
Thank you. Councilmember Sarno. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
None tonight.
And none for me. Thank you. All right, council comments, item number 21, Councilmember Martin.
Great concert, summer's over, too bad, we can't have more concerts. Right. Great job on the concerts. I feel like we accomplished so much at this meeting today, cameras and just a bunch of other stuff. So I'm glad that we're moving forward now on things for the city. Actually, I'd like to commend Whittier PD and Dino today, today and yesterday. We had a big problem at CVS where we had the homeless encampment. I don't know if you know about this, but CVS corporate couldn't do nothing about it. Just making a phone call directly to our city and Whittier PD, we were able to remove the encampment out of CVS, and customers were able to come in because we weren't even able to have customers come in and out. So thank you so much for your staff and our staff. So thank you so much. Kathy, awesome retreat this weekend. We learned a lot. Thank you so much for hosting it. And we're looking forward to the big potato fundraiser. That's it. Thank you so much, madam.
Councilmember Mora.
First and foremost, all executive reports. Thank you for the recap on what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. Really appreciate it. Fire Chief Hayward, as always, fire season. I wish the troops, the safe return back home. So please pass that along to those that have gone up there. Great event at the GVNC with the backpack. So thank you for all those involved, the sponsors, the donors, and of course our Rotary Club. I missed the in-service and, park and rec. I mean, I was a rec leader for many, many years. So I wish I would have been there, but we did have that event over at, with the chamber, and it was very, very productive. So if I could find a way to clone myself, I would do it, but I wish I could be in 2 places, but it was a great event that we had up there. And then, in the past, we did have a grand opening in Audio City. And, it's another business, high-end rims, beautiful rims that right down the street. And so, businesses are popping up. We're getting new business coming in. And so our city is definitely moving forward. And of course, our summer concert series, like everybody talked about, it was a great event. Everybody had a great time, and all the departments that were involved. Thank you for all your efforts. I appreciate that. I know that, the mayor's gonna be closing the meeting in memory of Mr. Chan. His name was Arthur Chan. He was 101 years old. I had the privilege of knowing him when I first started out as a guard, maybe 25, 30 years, a long time ago. And he was always the first one there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Very, very thin man. And we always thought that he was probably gonna drown because he couldn't get his arms up and over. And the reason that he would swim during the summertime was to stay in shape, so he'd go skiing. And this gentleman was skiing up until he was 80. He died last week at 101. I did get a chance to speak to him briefly last December during our Christmasville program. We always stopped on that street, and his caretaker brought him on the wheelchair. We had a really good conversation. and he still remembered who I was after all these years. And yes, so just my condolences to the Chan family. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sarno?
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to Gus, Marisela. Camps this year were very fun. My son attended all three of them, and he had a blast. It was just really awesome. Congratulations on this year's recruitments for rec staff, because it really showed the integrity of what you guys are installing in them, of what their job is as a rec leader. In many years past, I don't think we had as much comprehension for kids who always just want to be on their cell phone or didn't want to interact. And this year, I really seen it throughout the parks, and staff was really great. And you had a great group of kids this year, and that's just really promising, because if they had a great time this year, they're going to repeat and come back. And our younger kids are going to see how great it is to be part of the city and parks and want to grow up the way I did and a lot of other people here have. And I just commend you guys. You guys did a great job this year. It was really, really good. You know, back to school's already here already. We're in the middle of August, but back to school's here. Traffic is going to come. So you guys, if you guys are going to work in the morning, leave a little bit earlier, or just remember, be patient and, you know, take your time. Fall is upon us within the next month and a half. And the year's going to be over. But I also want to say, election year has come up it's already in the process. We see signs out there. I want to hope everybody up here good luck, and I hope everybody does well. We all might not agree on a lot of things, but I will tell you one thing. There's not one person up here that doesn't want the best for our community. And if we learn how to express that in a better way, the city has no limits. So good luck, everybody, and hopefully we continue to move the city forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sarno. Oh, next, Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
I just want to thank all the staff. I mean, hard work. I know at the end service, I was able to talk about each department and what they do. And it was just remarkable seeing all the faces there. And then, you know, after the in service, I mean, the guest speaker, she was amazing. I mean, you know, just hearing what she had to say, some of the, you know, just her articulating just the fact of how to be a better staff, letting people know if they were here for 20 years, that it's up to them. If they know if there's a supervisor position opening, that they have to go do the work in order to get that job. Don't expect that the job is going to be handed to you. I mean, she was saying all these different things that it was an eye-opening experience. And it's good that staff hear that, you know, because if they want to be here for the long haul, you know, you have to put in the work and the effort and, you know, and kudos to you guys, because I mean, just what Councilmember Sarno was saying, you know, a lot of it falls on you. You know, these staff are amazing because you're truly a remarkable, you know, manager. I mean, I have not seen, you know, in the time that I've been here, a manager like yourself that, you know, Deborah also, you know, the library services is just on point. You know, I'm hearing a lot of great things from the families. I think at the end service, I said, this is probably one of the summers that I didn't get any phone calls about complaints. You know, everything was all positive about the staff and different people. And, you know, of course, I was trying to encourage the residents just to, you know, announce those people's names, you know, call it in, you know, try to write a letter. And of course, some people, you know, they don't write these letters, you know, but either way, I do want to commend you guys and, you know, our social service, you know, programs, everything that they do. Marisela, thank you for the hard work. I mean, all our department heads, you guys all put in hard work, and and the fact that you guys do the best to always present things that, you know, for us to read and for us to ask questions. I do appreciate the fact that you guys call us before every meeting to see if we have any questions or concerns. So it's always a blessing to, you know, to be able to research with you guys, to talk to you guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware that pretty soon we're going to have a ban on water for 15 days, starting September 6th. And it will go for 15 days where you're not going to be able to use water to water your outside grass or any of your pots your flower pots. So, you got to look at other creative ways of watering. So the ban will be once again for 15 days. And really, I mean, when it comes to the enforcement part, I mean, if you read the press release, it really doesn't say much. It's kind of vague. So I think it's almost like a scout's honor. I mean, no pun intended, because we did have the scouts today. But it's almost like an honor process. And, so it is something that, just like I want to know, only because I have a brother who has special needs, and he waters like 4 or 5 people's lawns right here in our area, takes out their trash cans. So, I mean, as a care provider, you have to set him up to say, okay, we got to start now that you can't water on these days. And it's going to be tough because he knows his routine, and to take him out of his routine is really difficult. So if you ever have somebody who has special needs in your family, it is a lot of patience, but I mean, you learn a lot of detail to love. So I just want to thank all the staff once again for, truly being amazing here in the city of Santa Fe Springs. Also, I just would like to ask just for prayer for my sister-in-law. She hasn't been doing too well for the last couple of weeks. So, it's hard on my nephews. They're freshman boys, and the things that they've had to endure has been really difficult. So different things that they've had to see, and just the test of faith. So I just ask, that God always put a hedge of protection around my sister-in-law, my brother, and his family. So thank you guys. And also Priscilla Moreno, what she does for our Relay for Life. I mean, she gets all these different groups, public works, HR, planning, finance. I think everybody's doing something, public safety is doing something to raise money for Relay for Life. And it's a great thing because it goes to cancer research. So, but I know Priscilla Moreno is from from our city manager's office, and she's the one who's spearheading that. So I just want to personally thank her for all her efforts. So once again, take care and God bless you guys.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say, Mayor Pro Tem Zamora lives a block away from me, and it's so true. Javi is his little brother with special needs. And I see him at all the neighbors' house sitting and talking and helping. And he's just amazing. He's such a nice young man. I really like him a lot. And I thank you for your caregiving, and your mother as well. I know it's not easy sometimes, but I just want to say thank you to all our staff, everything that's gone on in the summer, all the programs. Maricela, thank you so much for you and your staff helping our residents, going to the market, buying food for people that cannot afford the food. You don't know how grateful the residents are, seniors that cannot get out. And we had a senior that had COVID, she could not get out. So I called Maricela. Maricela got the staff, and she went and bought food at the market and took it and placed it on the doorstep. I want to thank you for that. It really goes a long way. And I highly doubt that that's the first, and I don't think it'll be the last. Thank you. I wanted to say the summer concerts, I'm going to miss those. I know we're going to still get those, but it was so much fun. The grandparent and me day, spending time with our grandchild. He enjoyed the event so much, and so fun to be in Santa Fe Springs with your family, be local, going to all these events. And we do have a lot of events. We are moving forward. It's just a great place to live. A National Night Out. I want to thank Dino, our Whittier police officers, our firefighters, everything that you did to make it a great event. The William Gordon Learning Center, I'm so happy that we have that for our seniors. I want to just keep moving forward and keep getting better and better and better. And that's what we're going to do. I would like to thank our Santa Fe Springs Women's Club and everybody that participated in the fashion show. We were able to give 12 students $1,000 each for their college education. We've been doing this for as long as I've been in the Women's Club. It's very important to us to make sure that our youth go to college and get their education. And that is our legacy of the Women's Club. And we do so much. And I want to thank everybody that supports them. I'm looking forward to the potato bake and the Relay for Life. I wanted to say that last Thursday and Friday, I wasn't able to attend the workshop. I went to one of our residents that lost his life, Juan Johnny Hernandez, not our planning commissioner. I wanted to say that he was so liked by our residents. There were so many residents there, so connected, family. That's what it's about. And I know that everybody in Santa Fe Springs knows their residents and knows their neighbors, and we're all family. And I love it that way. Everybody was just somber, grieving, but everybody's connected, and they all are there for the family that lost their loved one. So I just wanted to say thank you to Santa Fe Springs. Thank you to all our staff. You do an amazing job, and we're just going to keep moving forward. Thank you. And with that, I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Arthur Chan and Juan Johnny Hernandez. Thank you.